What's up? Good morning. We are live. How you guys doing today? We are about 5.5 minutes out from the opening bell. Now, first things first, always got to start with business. We have not that much news today, which is cool. So we have a White House press briefing at noon Central Time. 1:30, Trump is signing some executive orders. We'll see if we get any tariff headlines out of that, but that'll already be in the afternoon. Trump's at a Navy trophy presentation, 2:30. And we get a Fed speaker at 5:10. So not a whole lot going on. Yeah, thanks, guys. It is my anniversary, of course, my wife here today. So I appreciate you guys saying that. We are free and clear of news, though. It's going to be a good day. See what we can grab here. 5 minutes out from the opening bell. Now, volatility, by the way, as of late here. Let's take a look at the daily. So we want to get market inertia. So we have to do this first every morning. Now, the market inertia as of late has been a lot of big wide range days with trends in between. Okay. So that's interesting because usually it's been one or the other. We usually have like a range period in the market, intraday that is, for weeks at a time. Or you get a week or two where it's heavy trend days. But we've been kind of seeing a mix of the two. Now, since last week's tariff news, volatility has certainly started to calm a little bit starting yesterday afternoon, which was fine as long as it doesn't come down. So, I've come down too much, that is, right? I remember like 3 weeks ago, we had like a 12 ATR. It was horrendous. So, we'll see what we can get here today. Hopefully that ATR can stay somewhere between 25, 30 and 70. And that ATR, by the way, you can reference throughout the stream here by looking at the, it's hiding behind the range, but that blue flag. So hopefully that'll be somewhere between 25 and 70. And we can grab some good trades. But again, market inertia, the story as of late has been big wide ranges with trends in between. But as volatility comes down, that tends to turn more into one or the other. Whether it's a trend day, which is a great kind of day to trade continuation, or a range day, which again is going to be more limit order reversion scalping. So let's see what we can do. All right, guys, what's up? Good morning, Quicksilver. Welcome back, Lucas, John, Scooby. What's up? Keith, how you doing? Welcome back. Thank you, guys. Mr. V, Brian, Christopher, what's up? Welcome back. Whitewater Joe. Yeah, Joe, you had a quick day yesterday, right? You were kind of in and out. Got what you came for and left. I think that was you yesterday. JM, Scrumptious. What's up, guys? All right, we are about 2.5 minutes out, about 2 minutes out from the opening bell. Oh, there's a push, huh? Coming in for a test in 19,000 here. That's going to be a tier 1 level, so pay attention there. Exposed, only up 550 in my take profit eval so far. 4 days green, 1 contract. Take it slow, consistency, and you just get that thing funded. Having a take profit pro account really is an asset, especially with like the daily payout structure that they have. It's a great thing to have. Hey, Jim, good morning. Christian, what's up? Reminder, guys, big deal here today. It's back. It's back, the long awaited. It's been 50% for weeks. Apex is back with their big Easter sale. Make sure you use code BIG. It's 80% off evals, finally. And single day pass. So it's good to see that back. When it's 50%, it just, you know, you got to do what you got to do. But when it goes 80% off, you know, 71 has been common lately, but 80 is a great deal over at Apex. So it's back, baby. So it's time to start scaling. We get any headlines as far as tariffs are concerned, I'll let you guys know. Not a whole lot here. Maybe one out of Citigroup, but just the CFO making statements. All right. 30 seconds out here from the opening bell. Let's see what we get. Let's take a look at this look instead. Now, worth paying attention to, by the way, as we come into the bell, that break-even point on the Nasdaq that's been giving the market hell lately. Even with the volatility from tariffs, for whatever reason, as of late, we've seen a lot of struggle with the market going red to green or green to red. It just is getting stuck around that break-even point and not really knowing what to do for sometimes upwards of 30 minutes to an hour. So pay attention there. We're only about 0.2% in the green as it sits here on the open. Peter, Chris, good morning, guys. How are you guys doing? John just loaded up an 80% off eval for today. Let's go. You guys know this is a business model, right? Trading prop. So when you can get the evals nice and cheap, maybe load up. Makes the business model a little easier to work itself out, right? All right, so we're coming in here to 19,000 testing. Again, that's a tier 1 level. We'll see. 50 points away from that break-even point also, so we're kind of in the middle here. We'll see what the market decides to do. Quick heads up, by the way, guys. I'm getting a little bit of a discrepancy between, look, it's going to be hard to see. Little differences here. We'll go that 2 minute and that 2 minute. I don't know if you're going to be able to see. You get little differences in price, right? I don't know if you guys see that. It's a little bit off between NinjaTrader, which is being fed through Rhythmic, and Thinkorswim. So keep an eye on that. It looks like we might be having some data issues. I'm getting like a 5 to 10 point difference here. Now, it typically cleans itself up, but that's probably across the board. So pay attention if you guys are just watching one chart. You might not actually be looking at the right price. Within 5 or 10 points, most likely. There's a push up through 19, huh? It's 5 minute here. I should go back a little. Yeah. This level here we saw about 2 a.m., 2:30. Paying attention to that. There's going to be a few stops, not loaded to the gills or anything, but that is like kind of the overnight level to watch here. As far as those sitting short, there's going to be some buy market orders up there coming into 19,050. So I'm going to pay attention to that. So again, if you're just joining us here, we have a pretty clear day as far as news. Again, White House press briefing, noon central. Trump signing a few executive orders at 1:30. That's really it today. Kind of nice to have a day free of news where we can just trade. So listen, yeah, that ATR currently sitting at 21. That's going to start to creep up as we get more and more after the bell bars getting included in the average. But this is just about the lowest ATR we've seen in the past probably week, but that's okay. We're still seeing a 40, 60 point range on the bars. You know, this afternoon might end up being an eval afternoon for me. We'll see. It's hard to pass up 80%. But this morning, trading the regular funded accounts. Here's what we'll be doing, by the way. 7 Apex PAs, 2 Take Profit Pros. A few of those Apex PAs, I'm going to have to start scaling the size here pretty soon. Took a few payouts yesterday, but I still have room, so I'll let you guys know if I end up changing the quantity. All right, backtesting 19. Eric, just signed up for my first take profit this morning. Used code BIG. I really like take profit. It's so nice to be able to make money and then just take it out. The daily payout structure is really something else. But you can only have 5 accounts, which is where Apex comes in. Pass in one day, you can get up to 20, which is kind of nuts. All right, giving these institutional orders a few minutes here to clear out. Give us some kind of structure here on the day. Again, I'm looking at today as we're likely to see volatility compared to last week come down slightly. We were already seeing that, remember, yesterday afternoon, which leads me to believe that, well, you know, are we really going to see a big giant range with trends in between like we were seeing last week? I don't know if volatility will allow for that, right? So I'm really looking, okay, do we develop a range? Or does today turn into a trend day? And then I'll just trade accordingly. But it's probably going to be more like one or the other here today. We'll see. Chris, I never traded with Apex. Is there any plan you recommend? Rhythmic, Tradeovate, etc.? Not sure about the differences. Yeah, so with Apex, I usually just go with Rhythmic. Now, my experiences with Rhythmic versus Tradeovate is as follows. Tradeovate seems to be easier and more reliable, I'll say. But for whatever reason, Rhythmic seems to be faster. But every once in a while, there's like a weird data error or glitch. But it's not that common. But I kind of think of these as, okay, Tradeovate is like the plug and play option that's like pretty damn reliable and works well. And Rhythmic is like the professional option, but it has like a bug here and there. And it's a little faster, it seems like to me. So take your pick. With Apex, I go with Rhythmic. Obviously with Take Profit, use Tradeovate. All right, let's see if we can get some kind of structure rolling here. It looks to me like we may be seeing some kind of ascending channel here. We can hold 19. Again, that's a tier 1 level, so we'll see if the market's able to push up and away from it. See if it's willing to do that. I don't know if the bears are quite willing to let that up yet. With the ATR sitting this low, what's your ATM? Well, the ATR is only this low here. It's only at 26 because we haven't averaged in all the opening bars yet. Remember, there's 10 2-minute bars. So with the ATR this low, it's going to creep up as we get more bars averaging in. But I'm still right now, if it sits between 25 and 70, I'm still probably going to stick with my 40-40. If it really tightens down, then we'll have to make a change. There's a nice little range, huh? All right, here we are coming into 840. Candle rollover happening here in a second. There you go. And this is 840 territory, so it's time to start letting setups really develop, and I'll start taking what I can here as early as a few minutes out, but I have to take what the market gives me. So we'll see if we get something here. A nice push upside. It's just when you get these off the open, I need to see it really develop. Again, right now, what this is telling me is 60 seconds into this 2-minute bar. You're looking at a 2-minute chart right now. You get that big pushing bull bar, growing bull bar, right? With a sequence like this close to the open, I would need to see 3. Just because oftentimes you'll get a push and then all of a sudden, you know, the institutional order's clear and then you get a pullback. And here you have sellers stepping in, shrinking this bar, really turning it into a doji as it sits right now. Still about 35 seconds to clean this up. See if it can. Christian, what do you mean when talking about tier 1 price levels? I should really make a video on this, huh? So, like an S tier price level would be like 20K, 25K, 15K, 30K. Those don't happen that often, but we've been seeing 20K in play lately. A tier 1 is just going to be each 1,000 on the Nasdaq. This is Nasdaq specific, right? 19,000, 18,000, 17,000, 21,000, 22,000. Tier 2 is going to be like a 19,200, 19,300. Less relevant, but maybe paying attention if you're like micro scalping. And a tier 4 is like 19,050, 19,150, 19,250, 19,350. The 50 increments, which some people watch, but I don't think are really worth. It's way down in tier 4. I think about it maybe for half a second, and I'm not really paying too close of attention. It's never gonna deter me from a trade, let's say, unless there's something else that happens to be at that level. Okay, so we got a push, a pullback with a little bit of a smaller attempt at a reversal sequence out of the bears, and here they are getting disappointed. Some of those quick to pull the trigger bears getting stopped here on this green bar. See if the bulls can make a continuation setup for us here. If you guys haven't yet, please just get it out of the way. Press like on the stream. I appreciate you doing so. It's all I ask. Helps out tremendously. You have no idea. Well, we've very much so cleared 19,000, huh? Morning, Marshall. How you doing? The seller's trying to step in and wick this baby back down. I would not be surprised if this ends up turning into an ascending range. I'll just throw that out there. Obviously, we have like one test on each side. But the way that this balance is looking, if nothing were to change, that's probably what we'd end up seeing. But I needed to actually develop. Yeah, I will. So on a few of these Apex accounts, I've only been trading one micro on like these. I'm gonna go ahead and increase those to 2. Obviously staying the same across the other accounts, but these little guys that I was trading, it's time to increase those because I'm getting deeper and deeper into padding. So obviously you guys know I trade relatively conservatively. I prefer to scale horizontally. More accounts, stay small in each account. But you know, you can't trade one micro forever. Come on. Well, here we are, trying to develop that little range. Let's see if we can. And I'm really looking in an ascending channel. I'd ideally want to see 3 touch points on an ascending level. If we could have the 20 EMA backing that, beautiful. But those sellers are really stepping in here. Happens to be ahead of 19.1. Not that that's the level in play. That's just where we happen to sit. We're pretty free and clear of that break-even point on the day. We're 135 points upside. Nasdaq is, that is, on the day. So we're sitting pretty. We just need to see some kind of price action development. Whether that be continuation or channel, I don't care. Just give me something. Chris, potential flat top incoming. Yeah, we may see a flat top here. Here's the attempt of what would be a flat top, and there's a little push through, huh? All right, there you go. There's a little push. See if we can get a little continuation sequence going here. Oh, man, I would need to see a third bar just because I know here. Let me walk you through what I'm thinking. In some cases, if this were more of a flat, these wicks, I'd be like, okay, the bears don't really have an argument here. But as this currently sits, guess what? I mean, the bears do kind of have an argument here. They're going to be looking at this, and that's going to bring a little bit of selling pressure. Now, is it enough to hold it down? I don't know, but it's enough to stop me from taking that trade to the long side, because I know you're going to see some bears stepping in saying, hold up, there's a trend line there, right? So if the bulls could break through that on a rollover here, we have 30 seconds left on this bar, then boom, I'm interested. John, good morning. How you doing? Hope you guys are all doing well. I know the volatility slowed down a little bit, but that sometimes makes for better trading, as long as it can stay moderate. As long as volatility doesn't die off. Up 800, good work. Yeah, so you guys see that there? Bears attempting to reject off that level. They saw that. 100% they saw that. Now, am I a big fan of shorting in ascending resistance like that? We have 3 touch points, right? I'm not a big fan of doing so. I have found that you have 2 sides on a channel typically, if it's a clean channel, right? So it's in an ascending channel, you're going to have an ascending resistance and an ascending support. I prefer to take the one with the trend, the like trend, right? If we call this a trend, which would mean the ascending support, which hasn't really developed. In a descending channel, I would prefer to take the descending resistance. I'm not a big fan of fighting the trend, the small little trend, on reversion scalps, unless like I will do it just to get more trades under my belt in an evaluation, but it does have a little bit less edge because you have to time it better, right? Because you have to not only pump the brakes, bring it to a halt, and then reverse, but you have to not get chopped out while doing so. Now, when you're trading with trend, like buying support in an ascending channel, there's a lot more wind at your back. There just is. So, you know, there's A trades, there's B plus trades. I'd call this maybe a B trade, which I'm not into. Well, you see that bears are still watching that level here. So again, being that it's such an aggressive ascending resistance, I don't want to actually short the resistance. I just want to use it as context against what could end up being a bad continuation or confirmation that, okay, it is a better continuation because the bears no longer have that same argument. It's really all I'm watching that for. Now, if we could get this developing on the downside, that'd be beautiful. We're just not seeing that yet. Zachary, what copy trader are you using again? This is affordable indicators. No affiliation, I just like it. It's not perfect, but it works quite well. Still have to keep an eye on it though. It's not really a set and forget. But I mean, which one is? None of them really. All right, you see here, buyers are trying to pin us to the top of that resistance level here. This is the 2 minute. Sellers not really having it, but they're not winning either. So we're getting some dojis here. The range is sitting at about 33. I'd like to see that creep up a little bit, but if we could hold this, that's fine. I just don't want to see ATR coming to below 15. Really below 25 would start being a little bit annoying. But where it sits right now is good as long as we can hold that. We're at 19.1 here. Again, tier 3 level. I'm not too concerned with it. An aggressive ascending level. These don't tend to be relevant for all that long. They tend to not necessarily break, because an upside break of this would be a very aggressive upside move. Might take news to do that, but they tend to just go out of play over time because they're so aggressive that the market can't sustain it. So it wouldn't surprise me to see that. Jet, what's up, brother? Good morning. Welcome back. Bears are trying to take this lower. Again, if you're just joining us, this is what we're currently watching. It's really not a tradable level for me. I have it there as context. Again, a break upside for continuation setup would have to be a very aggressive move. Right now, currently, we are testing the downside, the second downside test of what could be a little channel here. I'm more interested in the downside, like buying and ascending support, or if the bears are able to take us downside through, I could start getting very interested in a downside continuation setup. Depends what the market's going to give us here. Again, I don't care. Just give me a good setup and I'll trade it. I have no bias one way or the other. Zero. All right, if the bulls can hold this and give us a nice strong drive up out of the hole, then we're really forming a channel. However, there's the rollover, so this is going to be kind of a moment of truth here for the bears. Close right below that 20 EMA on the 2-minute, maybe 1940. It'd be tight. It'd be tight because the 5-minute here. You see this? A close right before, right below the 20 EMA on the 2-minute would put us maybe about here on this bar. So the bulls are taking it upside, so we'll see. This is a 5-minute bar, by the way. I'm talking the 2-minute bar. You have maybe 35, maybe 40 points ahead of the 20 on the 5. So, a minute 20 out on this bar. Bull's trying to take it back upside here. Panther, what's up? Good morning. All right, we're into 9 o'clock territory. So this top of the hour bar is kind of out of the way. Giving us some indecisive volatility, though, I must say. Bulls are attempting to drive this up out of the hole. If they could manage, I mean, here they are already giving it up. If they could manage to get a nice drive up out of this hole, then all of a sudden we have an argument for an ascending support. It's a little sloppy, I'm not going to lie to you, but we'd have that argument. Honestly, I think it'd just be a little easier for me if the bears could take this downside and just give me a nice little continuation between the 20 on the 2 and the 20 on the 5. That would give me enough room to enter, but we'll see what it gives us. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Well, can somebody, anybody, win here? Bulls fighting the Bears with everything they got and still getting disappointed here. We might end up seeing kind of what I would call a mushy bounce here, which in this case is tempting a continuation sequence downside, which would be good for us. But if we can see it drive up out of the hole, that's also good. Develops more of a channel for us. I'd want to see us break that. I don't need to see a full test up here, by the way, for that to be considered a nice strong bounce. Just a break of this high would be fine. That has me interested if we can break this high, even just a tick. Little flat top there on the 2 minute. I don't want the sellers to be able to defend that little flat top, right? Because what does that do? Not that I care at all about like the TA of it. I care about the confidence that gives the Bears. I want to wipe out the Bears' confidence even just a little more by taking out this flat top here. Then give me a nice pullback, 2, maybe 3 bars, and I'd buy that ascending support. 100% I'd buy that. But I need to see the Bears get shot down a little harder here first. If they're able to defend that, all of a sudden they have confidence. And if I'm long, that's not good for me. How are you guys doing so far today? Are you guys trading funded or evals? Old school trade and eval. Scrumptious first 25K take profit eval. There you go. Yeah, looks like a lot of evals, some funded. All right, let's see if these bulls can actually break through that flat top. Zachary, halfway through 5 50K evals. It's taking me a week to get to this point. Yeah, take it easy. Get through them. Palmetto Panther, trading personal. Jeff evals, Eric funded, yep. Yeah, cool, guys. A day like today, listen, if we can get a channel developing, I know that most people would say, you know, as much volatility as possible to trade evals, and I would tend to agree. However, we should think about something, right? If we can get a nice little channel developing here today, which we're in the process of trying to do, the bulls can just clear this. There you go. See that? Taking out those stops? That's why stop hunting works. If we get a nice channel developing, that presents a very nice environment, not just for trading personal, funded, whatever, but also evaluations. Right? Because you can hit scalps over and over and over again and really make progress in those. So if we can get those, or a little channel developing here, it'd be a beautiful thing. Now, by the way, there's a very fine line between a trend day to the upside and an ascending channel to the upside, because in a channel, you have a very defined ascending resistance to deal with that can kill a lot of continuation setups. Now, in this case, if you have that level really expanding to the upside, like it is currently, you have a lot more room to maybe take a continuation in this range and still have room upside to hit target. Make sure you're thinking about that, right? Do I have room to actually hit my target before I run into something obvious? That should all be thought of ahead of time. But now that we've seen a break of that flat top, that's good. Now I'd love to see a downside test of that ascending support lining up with the 20 EMA on the 2. Or, I mean, even a little continuation here, but that would push us maybe a little bit into that resist. I mean, it's really aggressive upside here. If we even draw it like that. Yeah, I mean, so the ATR currently is sitting at 35. Range on this bar, sorry, the last bar was 49. I'd be asking for a lot on continuation. I would really prefer maybe just a little channel scalp here. Which I haven't said that in about a week. All right, a downside test of that channel. I'd like to see it a little more controlled. Pretty aggressive test. Let some bulls step in, kill off that excitement. Still sitting flat here. Did not enter on that. Bar rollover coming in 30 seconds. I'm very interested here. Maybe a test to like 75 in a controlled manner. All right, bar rollover coming here. See if we can get a little test before we get too much of a bounce. I don't want to give anyone any kind of reason to think that, oh, that's a mushy bounce, that's bearish. I just want people to see this as a single test. So on this bar, I'd like to see a downside test of maybe about 19,080. There we go. Let's see if we can get that. Tempting it. It's really not giving it to me. There we go. Ugh, I can't take that. Yeah, see, that's why I wait to make sure it's controlled. No trade. You see moves like that. Okay, now a lot of you guys have asked me, why don't you put out limit orders on the levels? And it's a very fair question. I promise you it's a good question, but that's why I don't. Because that would have filled me and boom, instantly stopped me out. And that's happened to me in the past, so I stopped doing that a long time ago. So, okay, good thing we waited for a nice controlled move, because that was not a controlled move. Yeah, fear and greed index just hit. I don't think that was the reason for that move, but it's at 22. So, no trades so far. That always sucks. When you get excited about a level and you're sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting, and then boom, gets blown out. Can't even take it. All right, now let's see if we get... Okay, EU, here's the headline, I think. EU expects US tariffs to remain as discussions make little progress. That might have been the potential headline that just caused that, because I know it wasn't the fear and greed index. Chris, would you consider shorting the bar into potential stops, or is this bearish bar too big? Listen, for me, here, look up top. These bear bars are so outsized, likely influenced by that EU headline, the tariff headline that we just got, that even a continuation setup here, it would be a break of my plan. I have to make a discretionary call when we get big outsized bars, and these... And it's always compared to the recent volatility. It's not a point value. It's compared to what you've been seeing as far as the average true range. These are too big. It's tempting that rubber band snapback where the bulls are like, wow, this price is great, load up. And a bunch of bulls step in, and now you're betting that, hey, can the sellers actually maintain this way down here now at a worse price for the sellers? And oftentimes the answer is, well, the edge is less than it was. So, now I gotta hold off and wait for something else to develop here after that tariff headline makes its waves. And again, when you're channel scalping, that's why. That right there is why, one, I don't enter with limit orders sitting out. I manually hit them and try to get filled while it's moving in real time. I don't want to have a limit order sitting out, because that happens, you just get instantly stopped. And secondly, when you're channel scalping, that is why I wait to make sure it's a controlled test to the best of my ability. Now, sometimes you're going to enter and 5 seconds later that happens. But you can avoid that happening at least before you get in by waiting to make sure you see that controlled test, and then boom, you enter with a limit. In this case, it would have been on the bid manually as it makes the test. All right, now you're going to get those bulls trying to step in and say, wow, I should load up down here. Coming into that break-even point, by the way, on the day. About 40 points out, sitting up 0.2. This right here is where we opened. So let's go ahead and clean up our chart, actually. That just changed quite a bit. You see that now, bulls? That's that rubber band snapback temptation. You need more. Think about this logically, right? The lower you go, even if it's on a headline, you need more and more of an important headline to continue to push it lower as the shorts are getting a less attractive price, or the sellers are getting a less attractive sell price if they're selling to close, right? So the probability of success in a short gets lower. The lower the price goes, the faster it happens. So you need a more and more aggressive headline, and it's like, well, we've kind of seen this headline before. And for me to sell that on continuation on those big outsized bars, it's just asking for the sellers to lose confidence and the buyers to step in, and you get this rubber band snapback attempt. Doesn't mean it's going to succeed, but they're definitely going to attempt it and probably stop me out in the meantime if I were to take that trade, which is why I can't take those outsized continuation trades. It needs to be a controlled continuation, at least semi-controlled continuation move compared to the recent volatility. The best advice I can possibly give you about trading futures especially is that you need to look at things logically and just think, okay, the balance of buyers and sellers, does this make sense to me? You guys are smart, you can make sense of it. Doesn't mean you're going to be right every time, of course. You're going to take losers as part of the game. But you don't need to be, you only need a few percent edge. Alright, now we're waiting for the market to develop something else, because that right there changed up the whole day. That one EU headline. We finally had a channel developing, and then boom, one headline changes everything. Zachary, could you explain the difference between buying, selling the bid and ask versus market? So, if I put a market buy order out, it's going to fill me at the best price it can get, but there's no limit. So if you want to buy, 1,000 contracts or 10,000 contracts and you just put a market buy, it's just going to take all the offers it can and usually ratchet, as it takes liquidity, it ratchets your price up and you're paying more and more and more until you get a full fill. Now the futures market is pretty liquid, but that's how that works. Now if I put out a limit buy order and I target the bid, I'm saying, okay, I want to pay the bid, but no more. But sometimes you won't get a full fill, or sometimes you won't get filled at all. So that's kind of a trade-off in not that many words. Alright, if we... Alright. Okay, I'm interested in a potential continuation. Minute 30 out from the close of this 2-minute bar. We saw that headline hit, we saw the buyers make their attempt, and now we're getting raw price action. Certainly influenced by that volatility, but this is more raw. So I am interested if we get a good close here out of this 2-minute bar, below that previous wick, and near the low of the current bar. Now 18.9 would be in the way if we got this, but that's you know, again, that's going to be a tier 3 level. I'm not too worried about that. 40 seconds out to clean this bar up. Let's see if the sellers can. We're coming into that break-even point. We'd have to clear that as well. A lot needs to happen here in the next 30 seconds for me to enter. Here we are, the break-even point. I'm going to connect my copier just in case. 15 seconds. Here's the rollover. Nothing there for me on that bar. There's a doji. Buyers are going to attempt their little reversion sequence. And we'll see if they get disappointed. Nico, what's the risk percentage for every trade you take? So that, for example, you hit stop loss, you lose 1% or what? Okay, so this is a long discussion. 1% is the industry standard. Aggressive young people with not much to lose and everything to gain will oftentimes push that to 2%, sometimes 3%, but that increases the risk of blowing the account. Now we're talking like personal accounts, right? As you get older and your account gets bigger and you make more money and you have more to lose, I would encourage people to drop that to maybe 0.5%. But we also have to consider this is kind of a nuanced answer to what seems like a simple question, because if your win rate, like let's say you scalp negative reward to risk and your win rate is 80-some%, you know, that changes the probabilities of having losing streaks. You should run the math on what the probability is of losing so-and-so trades in a row. Now, if your win rate is like 10% because you run some massive reward to risk strategy, you should also know the risks of losing how much money in a row. You never want to get to the point in a personal account where you are forced to take less size because you can no longer afford in that account to take the same size you started with. That's just a hole that gets more and more difficult to dig out of, and you should run that math to determine what's the probability of me taking, you know, 15 losers in a row. Okay, it's, you know, point whatever percent. All right, now how many months on average is that going to happen to me? Once every 6 months? Once every month? Once a week? Once every 10 years? You should know that about your trading. And that helps you determine how much you can risk. So it really is a nuanced answer, but that's the real answer. The short answer is, yeah, the industry standard is 1%. Okay, here's the bull attempt at a reversion sequence. They are reclaiming the wick of the previous bar, but we'll see if they can hold it. This may very well end up turning into a descending channel. This, by the way, is the test of the 20 EMA on the 5-minute. Right now, we're making that test. And the 20 EMA on the 2-minute is starting to line up a little bit closer, about 20 points away. This is 19,000, by the way, tier 1 level. So really, I'll draw some lines early. These are not set in stone yet. Don't overthink it. Just draw it how you think everyone would draw it. See if that holds. Again, just 2 touch points so far. I prefer to see 3 before I do something with it. Again, testing the 20 EMA on the 5. Not far from the 20 on the 2. See if we have to adjust that level. That line, that is. Looks like we're gonna have to readjust this. Just delete it for now. Like to keep my charts as clean as I can. Okay, test to the 20 on the 2. The 20 on the 5 is attempting a break to make room probably for this. At least this region. Not that the 2 minute is so relevant. It's really not. But it gets respected here and there. All right, bar rollover coming in 30 seconds. This next bar is going to tell us a big story. Do we end up with a flat top here on the 2 minute? I guess, and the 5 minute. Or do we end up with some kind of continuation sequence, which I would take, by the way. All right, bulls, calm down. Don't be too outsized here. There's the rollover. Probably gonna see a little back test here of the EMA. There's the back test. And now from here tells us a big story. All right, a minute 20 out here from the close of this 2 minute. I can see it close here up towards 64, 70. That'd be a beautiful setup. See if we can get that. "45 seconds out here from the rollover of this bar. Still holding on to that 2 minute. 20 EMA. There you go. There's a little bit of a push. My copy trade already, just in case. "25 seconds. Weak bulls. That is pathetic. Retesting the 20 on the 5. And still no trades for me on the day. I imagine we're going to get something here pretty soon. It's starting to look like we're seeing development. Just hasn't hit right yet. Bears are going to try to get a little reversal sequence going here. See if they can pull it off. 15 seconds out here. Old school. Hey, Nico, do you always wait for the bar to close? Yes, on continuation. No on channel scalping. There's the rollover. Weak bear bar. We're still testing the 20 EMA on the 5, which is quite relevant. I mean, really. It's not enough for me to take trades only off of, but it's relevant. Okay, this next bar for me, if we can get a nice low close on a growing bear bar below 19,000, that'd be an entry for me. So let's see if we can get that. $60 seconds out here from the close of this 2-minute. There you go. Come on, Bears. $40 seconds. That is an eternity in this world. Seconds. You ready here? I need to see a nice low close toward the bottom of this bar. Come on, Bears, don't let me down now. Wick. See that? 2-minute. Nice wick back upside. Same idea applies here to this bar, by the way. I just need good most recent information. And ideally enough room between here and, well, I mean, you look here. You could also argue a flat bottom mentality here, which is fine. I'm cool with that, actually. I would prefer that. All right, 1 minute and 20 out from the close of this 2-minute. The Bears could just keep this controlled. No tariff headlines. Retesting the 20 on the 5. And above 19. Yeah, these bulls here, they just won't let it go, will they? Here we go. $25 seconds to clean this up. Bulls are taking over this bar here. Again, there's the test of the 20 on the 5. And coming in for a test of the 20 on the 2. Gonna be no trade for me here on that rollover, unfortunately. There's the rollover. We're testing that little top. Right here. Like a little flat top. See if the bulls can push through there. Again, I have no bias one way or the other. I don't care if I have to go long, short. Just give me a setup that looks clean. We have not had that. All right, there's the test and the push through that little flat top. Okay, I need to see the next bar. Because I know that some bears are going to look at this. At least maybe this, that potential, right? Because that bar was outsized. All right, a minute 30 out from the close of this 2 minute. Yeah, I imagine the bears are going to try something. You guys see this? When you get those outsized bars, it's really common to see the market kind of hesitate on the rollover rather than push through, which is what I would need. Which is why I hesitate to buy the rollover when you see outsized bars like that. Because I know the market is going to tend, on average, to hesitate. Because it's like, wait a second. That was kind of a big move. This is starting to look very much like a little ascending channel. We'll see if that develops. Peter, today was my best day yet, up 2,600 bucks. Good work. Here's the bear's little attempt at a reversal sequence. Kind of a doji after a big bull bar, and here we are. They're going to try to reclaim. They're going to try to reclaim that previous bar's wick. We just got a headline, didn't we? Oh, I don't like when the market does this kind of shit. That was a 100-point move in a few seconds. How about it? Ron, Trump posted. What did he say? Because I'm not seeing a single headline. Yeah, Clark, listen, guys, we've seen two now incredible teaching moments today. In a market like this, where at any moment a single man can come say something about tariffs and move the market like crazy, hundreds of points, you need to be trading. And this isn't always the case, by the way. We don't always have this like crazy touchy inflation or tariff news. You need to be using live stops here in like the Nasdaq, where it's so sensitive to that news. Because it's completely out of your control. If you're trading naked, that is with no stop, and somebody tweets, I mean, do you really want to get liquidated because of that? I mean, that's so stupid. That's completely out of your control. So just make sure you're using live stops. Even if they're wide, just have something out. Prop firm Poppy. What's up, brother? How you doing? Yeah, some crazy big news bars here today. Shaking us up. But no trades so far. Sitting flat. You guys wouldn't mind, please. All I ask, press the like button. Helps out tremendously. Seriously, you have no idea. I appreciate it. We are sticking. Okay, so worth mentioning now, the 20 EMA is now lining up on the 5-minute and the 2-minute. And we're kind of sticking to it here. So let's see if we can get some kind of definitive move. Out of the hole, driving deeper into the hole, I don't care. Just give us something here. Faith Trading, I'm very nervous about my 20 Apex 150K accounts I have. Got account to 163,000 each, so about 14K per account profit, and one of these days I will blow this up. Well, if you keep telling yourself that, then yeah, you're probably gonna blow it up. Just trade well. When, if you can. You know, listen, there's different ways to trade prop. You can build huge buffers and try to get $1 million payout. That's fine. If you want to do that, do that. But the people that do that, they blow up a lot of accounts that are deep in the money, chasing that $1 million or record-breaking payout. Now that's fine if that's what you care about. But I mean, why do you? I mean, again, that's cool. That'd be great. That'd be awesome to have the record. But why? So you can post it on Twitter. That is your money sitting there that you could take payouts on. And I think a lot of these people, they look at it like, oh, it's house money. I just want to get the record. It's like, isn't this about making money? We are sticking to the EMAs here on the 5-minute and the 2-minute. Now these last 3 bars. Everyone likes to say, oh, I got chopped up today. It was a choppy day today. That's why I lost. No, you just lost. This is chop. These last 3 bars. Chop is the most overused word in trading. 95% of the time you didn't get chopped out. You just lost. It's a good word to offload the blame to the market. Assuming you're using like wide enough stops and you're not using 4-point stop losses on the Nasdaq, right? But this, with these wiki bars, the last 2 or 3 bars, this is chop. You can use that word here. Market's got to make some kind of decision here. It can't. This is something else. How many times do you allow support resistance line to be violated before you disregard it as a support or resistance level? Well, if the structure is still reasonably intact where people are still going to look at it the same way, then it's fine. But if a big break changes the entire way that everyone's going to look at the level, that is what matters. It is only a self-fulfilling prophecy, nothing more, nothing less. So look at it and say, hey, out of the average of 1,000 people on the street, would most people still watch this? If the answer is they wouldn't even see it, then it's dead. There's something else here, isn't it? Well, the market right now, these last 10 minutes has been kind of garbage, huh? But good news, it's back, baby. If you want to use this to not blow your funded accounts and try to get some more funded accounts, be productive, 80% off is back. It's been a while since we've seen 80% off at Apex, which is good news. Makes the business model work a little easier. All right, if the market can break out of this, if we could see a break upside through this channel, then I think we're kind of out of this chop. But right now, the market can't make a decision. Now, this is clear. I mean, if you've been watching the stream for any number of days now, you know what I'm about to do, right? I mean, clearly, don't overthink it. How would most people draw it? I'd say about like that. How would most people draw this? Well, probably like that. Don't overthink it. It's not an exact science. You just want to see some kind of structure. Okay, what's everyone going to see? What are the algorithms going to see? Now, we'll see if the market can hold on to that. If we can get a big push upside through, all of a sudden that makes this 20 line up with this level, and that would be a channel scalp for me. Also, if we can see a continuation setup with room before an upside test, at least 20 to 40 points. You know, I'd be interested there too. All right, here we go. Here's a retest of the 20 and the downside of that trend line, okay? But that was a weak bounce. You guys see this, right? Higher high, higher high, lower high. Mushy bounce is what I call that. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, we are back. And the market has basically done nothing except break this structure a little bit. So we will go ahead and redraw. How would everyone draw it? You could argue like a couple of ways. I'd probably draw it like this. But we're getting mushy bounces here. Let's see if we can get a nice push up here out of this, away from this 20 EMA on the 2 minute. Yeah, if the market does something nuts, you guys gotta let me know. I'll remind you if I leave. Market's really sticking to this 20 on the 2 minute, huh? I'm going sideways right now. I need to see either a channel development, which we're working on doing right now, just not succeeding all that well, or some kind of trend. Now today is clearly more of a channel driven day than a trend day, at least as it sits right now. Yeah, ATR currently sitting about 39 or 40, which is still good. We're just seeing a bunch of sideways action here. You could argue that we're seeing a little bit of a flat top here, if we were to zoom in more, right? Kind of still this ascending wedge with a flat top. Only about 25 points of room there, which is not great. Okay, so here. You see this 5-minute chart? We're testing the 20 on the 5, right? Now, on the 2-minute chart, we're kind of pinned between the trend line and the 20 on the 2. And they're both being respected. This has just been, we've just been suctioned to this level for the last 45 minutes. Now, we have this big ascending channel, but we could also make this argument again. Ascending support with a little flat top. So, honestly, right now, just to remove ourselves from all this, I would love to see a downside breakthrough, and I just take a continuation setup to the downside. Take out some of these stops along the way, depending on the entry, of course. For me, that would be the cleanest way to proceed. Let's see if we can get that. There we go, attempting to get a little bit of a downside break. You can see it best on this chart. You guys see, we're actually, I mean, you could argue that we're seeing a little horizontal channel. Now these, we haven't had these in like a week because volatility's been so nuts. But these are about 50-50 and tend to break hard one way or the other. You see that testing the other side now here. Clean up this chart. I'm just gonna pull this. I don't like to have lines if I can remove them. I think we have to leave this one here for now, with the understanding that we're seeing kind of a flat bottom, flat top scenario now. This is really a weird situation. I mean, you look at the 2-minute, we're retesting that trend line to the upside as maybe potential resistance. I mean, but then here on the 5-minute, you have that 20 in the way. This market can't figure it out. So it's going to make a break one way or the other. Again, this is about 50-50. So I need to just see which way it breaks. And then ideally a continuation sequence will develop and we can take that. Again, things can change quick trading the 2-minute. Here's the test of the upside of this garbage little horizontal channel. Oh, I know, I'm so thankful to be trading futures instead of options right now. Yeah, listen, futures traders. I would imagine, I haven't looked at many chains today, but I would imagine that IV Crush is going crazy today. Option sellers probably doing pretty well. I'll have to check. All right, here's a test of that upside of this little horizontal trading range. Again, the breakout here, probability is 50-50 in terms of direction, but these tend to break hard and usually turn into some kind of continuation sequence. Let's see here. We're a minute 25 out from the close of this 2-minute bar. The bar after this, if this can close near its high, becomes a potential entry bar for me, depending on how that one looks. All right, 50 seconds out here. See if we can put something together here so far today. This market's not really giving us much, is it? You know, Jamie, I don't know much about it, but what you want to watch is for regulation. You want to see how are the prices regulated at the brokers you end up trading through, and are they up to the broker or are they regulated? Because like you have that problem in the Forex space. A lot of times, you know, you're not getting the real price. You're getting the price that the broker is setting. So you want to check that out. Futures in the US are beautiful because they're so heavily regulated. And they're really designed for trading and hedging, which is good for us. All right, we are a minute and 10 seconds out here from the close of this 2-minute. Come on, give me a nice break upside, outside of this horizontal channel. Just give us something here. $20 seconds to clean up this bar. I will engage my copier just in case. I'm looking at this here. Here's the rollover. Obviously, those are shrinking bull bars, closing beneath this little top. So if we can get a nice growing bull bar closing outside of this top, all of a sudden I'm interested. All right, we are 40 seconds out here from the close of this 2-minute bar. You see these shrinking bull bars, right? Bears attempting a reversion sequence. I mean, to a T at that top. Roll over in 15 seconds. All right, we are 60 seconds out here from the rollover of this bull bar. And if this can close near the high of the bar but remain controlled, that's just about the first clean setup we'll have all day. So let's see if we can get that. A lot can change here in 45 seconds. The rollover, and we're closing at the previous wick. Which is not an entry for me. So next bar here, story of the day. All right, we are 90 seconds out. One minute here. There's a lack of follow through so far here. If we can finally get one side here to make a decisive move. Mm. 30 seconds till the rollover. All right, there's the rollover in a few seconds here. Yeah, I mean, this price action is not great. We're getting a lot of little attempts. No backbone here on either side, really. But as soon as one side shows a little backbone, I'm in. Or if we get a nice little channel development, which we could certainly get. All right, we are coming in here. Look at the 5 minute. We're coming in for a test of the 20 on the 5. Paying attention to that. Roll over here on the 2 minute in 7 seconds. Now this rollover bar is very important for me. If we can see a move downside and a nice low close right in this region, I'd stop hunt those guys. At least attempt to stop hunt those guys. All right, a minute 25 out. $60 seconds. No headline driving that last bar, which is fine. At least no major headline. All right, 40 seconds out. Bulls are trying to hold here. Look at the 5 minute. Bulls are trying to hold that 20 on the 5. Eyes are on the 2 though. 25 seconds. Come on, Bears, show some backbone. Give me a nice little close. Here comes the rollover. No trade, nothing for me. This next bar, by the way, could be an entry bar for me, depending on how it closes. How it closes, I mean. Mike, how much do you factor the time of day into your analysis? If I can, coming into like the 9 a.m. Central bar, I'll avoid a trade if I can. If the setup's very good, then I'll still take it. But I factor in like top of the hour. 45, bottom of the hour, I don't factor those in too much. Okay, 60 seconds out here. Yep, ATR is still in the 30s, so I'm still planning on running 40-40 with the understanding that if I have to take it off at 20, that's cool. Negative reward to risk is perfectly fine and perfectly natural if your win rate can handle it. All right, 35 seconds out. Do we get an entry? $15 seconds. Bears, hold it down. Hold it down, bears. I just can't take it yet. I mean, look at this. That's very frustrating. I can't take it. We wick back up right to that flat bottom. We take it out and then wick back up. I know it's a small wick. I know it's a small wick. But the buyers told me at the very last end of that candle, hey, hang on, we're not done with the flat bottom. So I know it looks like I'm being very, very picky, but I mean, listen. Do you want to make money? Gotta be picky sometimes. But when the market gives you a whole bunch of setups, you gotta take them. Would you take a 20 EMA retest? No. No, not unless there was a descending channel forming. But when you get that little wick back upside to retest that flat bottom after just briefly taking it out, what does that tell me? Hey, maybe there's not as many stops down there as I thought. And number two, oh, look, the bulls are going to have some confidence. Oh, look, we held that. Maybe we should buy. I mean, that all happened in the last 5 seconds of that bar. And here you go. They're retesting the EMA. In a setup like that, I want to have as many reasons for the bulls to be like, okay, maybe I should just take the loss as possible. And as many reasons as possible for new bulls to be like, yeah, maybe I'll hold off here. Big bull bar. Eric, made my bag this morning, gonna hit the gym. Sounds about right. Good work. I'm not quite done with this market yet. Gotta see if he'll give me something. If you guys wouldn't mind, by the way, all I ask, please press like on the stream. Helps out tremendously, even when just a few people press it. It makes a noticeable difference, so I appreciate you doing so. Well, you see the 20 EMA on both the 5 and the 2, still lining up within 5 points, really. And we are sticking right to it, aren't we? And really, that's more the market just not being super volatile than it is actually sticking to the 20. It's kind of like a chicken and the egg kind of thing. The volatility is what's causing the 20 to sit there, not the 20 being there causing the lack of volatility. If that makes sense. All right, let's see if we can get a little bit of a sequence going here. That flat bottom on the downside, I just don't trust that flat bottom, which is good. Might present a setup here. A minute 30 out from this bar. After a big bull bar like that, I would need to see 3 consecutive. So ideally, this bar would stay just about the size it is currently and close near the low. Roll over, close near the low right about here. Boom. I sell the rollover of that next bar. See if we can get that. All right, well, it's growing a bit. That's okay. We're not really getting a headline causing that. This bar is going to roll over here. I don't want it to grow too much more. Then it becomes too outsized. 30 seconds. Bull's trying to wick it back up down at that flat bottom. I'd love to just clear that flat bottom out of the way, get those orders out. It looks like some bulls have limit buys down there. Look at that wick. Oh, that is a brutal wick. Retesting the 20. Bears testing that flat bottom again here. Minute 15 left on this 2-minute bar. Oh, here. Okay, 45 seconds. We very well could be forming a little descending channel here. However, comes the rollover. There's a wick back upside. Yeah, I think the market's seeing that little descending channel. That's what I was concerned with. So I want to see this next bar develop anyway. I don't want to give the bulls any reason whatsoever here. Let's clean this up. To have an ounce of confidence. This right now, wow. This right now is giving the bulls some confidence. I want them to have none, 0. We're 60 points out from the break-even point on the day for the Nasdaq, so I'm considering that as well. A minute 10 out here from the rollover of this 2-minute bar. Looking for a nice low close well under 19,000. Sorry, well under the wick of the previous bar, which would be below about 18,985. If the bears can show some backbone here for once today, really anyone, bulls or bears, neither of which really doing a good job. 30 seconds out from the close of this 2-minute. You can see what I'm watching, right? Keep an eye on this as well. I would draw it like that. All right, I'm watching that descending resistance point. The 20 EMA on the 5 minute would be kind of right there. However, it hasn't, I mean, it's been holding today, but recently it's been more of just a point in the middle of the range. Yeah, if we can see a controlled upside test, I think I'll take a short there. Has to be controlled though. Well, there are the EMAs on both the 2 minute and the 5 minute. Well, ATR now sitting in the low 30s here, which is kind of the low end of my range. Still interested though. Give me an upside test here on that 2 minute chart. Top right of your screen is the 2 minute. No entry yet. Just give me a little bit of a retest here. The last hope of the bulls, and I'll grab a little channel reversion short if I can get a retest. No true test, no entry. Story of the day here so far. All right, well, here's 19,000 tier 1 level. So keep an eye on that. I just want to get a retest, a true retest of that descending resistance point. We didn't get it, at least not on the 2 minute. Yeah, price action isn't great, is it? I mean, you can do something with it. It's just very, it's been teasing us all day, I guess is the best way to put it. We've almost had about five, six setups at this point, and just no true quality entry, at least not for me. Oh, coming in for a test here of that downside descending support level of this channel. Right now, there's two trades on my mind, okay? I would short a retest of the descending resistance if we actually got a real retest, which we didn't get. We were a little off. Or I would take a continuation short if we got a continuation sequence breaking through this descending support level. I'm cool either way. We just gotta get it now. But by the way, if we see a retest just on one giant bull bar, that breaks my plan. So I need to see at least a couple of bull bars here coming in for a controlled retest. Slow it down, bulls. Come on, man. Story of the day here. Where does this confidence come from? Seemingly out of nowhere. Yeah, right, I had to say it, and then it happens, of course. Kills my plan. Here's the attempt at the break of that little descending resistance. Well, 30 seconds out from the rollover of this 2-minute bar. That's an outsized bull bar. It's gonna have to reset some things here. Yeah, that outsized bull bar, it's gonna tempt that little rubber band snapback out of the bears. Just those bears who step in and say, wow, that was a big bull bar, let me short that. Then of course you're gonna have bulls that are like, I don't know if I want to buy this high. And usually that combination leads to at least a slight pullback, which we're now getting here. Again, assuming there's really no actionable news, which I'm not seeing. Yeah, here's the retest of the 20 EMA on the 5 and the 2. They're lining up almost exactly now. right, 60 seconds out from the rollover of this 2-minute bar. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up this chart. Delete that, and we'll leave this and just extend it. And I'd probably draw it like there. Don't overthink it. Kings, I just look at financial juice. Free or $100 a month, whichever one you want. It's fast enough for our purposes, unless you're trading actual news, in which case you'll want to get a Bloomberg terminal. But just trying to understand the context of the news, this is just fine. All right, I still want to watch this a little bit. Don't go anywhere. I will be back in 2 minutes. All right, I'm back, and not a whole hell of a lot happened, did it? Liberty, Nico, is the 4-hour or 1 hour telling us anything? For me, nothing more than I could get out of the 2-minute, the 5-minute, and the daily. Same information, just displayed differently. And I prefer to top out at my kind of 3 time frames. Anything more becomes info overload. It kind of just paralyzes you, I find. At least for me, that's how it works. Well, I think it might be time for me to trade some tests, trade some evals, try to make something productive happen today in just kind of a bizarre sideways market. You know, you guys know how I feel about this. I think you should try to scale your prop trading horizontally, keep it small per account, and just scale the accounts, ideally mixing firms. Right now, I'm really a big fan of both Apex and Take Profit as a mix of two, at least to begin here. If you're gonna start by just mixing two, if you want to pick one or the other, Take Profit is great for daily payouts. So if you're looking for consistent, maybe smaller payouts, Take Profit is a great choice. If you're looking to just scale and wait for your payouts but try to get big money, Apex, you can scale to 20 accounts, and I think that's a great choice. But a mix of the two I think is probably the best. Ideally a mix of many props long term is probably the best way to go. Not only are you hedging against any single prop, but you're scaling horizontally. You're able to keep smaller per account. So I think we need to see a breakout of this range. So yeah, I think maybe I'll either move on and try to make some progress in a few tests, maybe a couple of evals here, and see what I can get done here today. Again, if you want to go daily payouts, Take Profit Trader is 30% off, no activation fee. Use code BIG, best deal always. And Apex, it's back, 80% off as of today is back. It's been a while since we've had a good deal like this at Apex, so you use code BIG, you get 80% off the eval, and you can pass in one day, be in a funded account as early as tomorrow. So that's gonna be it here for me today, guys. If you have not done so yet, please subscribe to the channel. I'll be live 8:15 a.m. Central Time every single morning. All right, guys, best of luck here today. Don't force anything. Wait for the market to give you good setups. And I will see you 8:15 a.m. tomorrow morning. Have a good one.